Hello everyone and welcome back into Planet Zoo and Sundar Zoo. Because we've not played the game for well over a month now, I wanted to do a quick real-time section just to show you, just to recap a bit and show you a couple of things that I've done off screen. We don't normally do this, but I think it would be worthwhile for this episode, so let's get into it. Okie doke, so if you remember last time, ages ago, about 5 weeks ago, when the Australia DLC got released, we built this Koala Habitat, and that all seems to be running quite nicely. I don't know if any of them have escaped. No, just high amounts of litter. Literally, I placed lots of what they call janitors, cleaners and that round the park, around the zoo, but there's still high amounts of litter for some reason. Let's see if we can see the koalas then. Yeah, there they are. They don't tend to climb much, these koalas. I don't know if it's the design that I've built here or whatever. I thought I built up a nice little climbing frame there, but yeah, they don't really use it. Moving on from that, because I put that there, really I just wanted to play with the new DLC. That's the only reason I built it. Whether it fits into the zoo that well or not, I don't know. We'll have to make it fit in. I do feel like I'll need to do another Australian exhibit. Maybe the dingo, I'm thinking, but I'm not sure yet. And then before that, we built this habitat here, which is the antelope, I believe. Yeah, the pronghorn antelope. I had a massive problem with them. They kept jumping over the edge. We managed to sort that out in the end. There are some vending machines here. These will all be sunken into a small, not building, but like little thing here. They'll be themed a bit better, basically, to not look so much like they've just been dumped there like they have. So these are all things we need to work on. Come down here. I'm trying to be very careful not to show you the new building, because this is recorded after the rest of the video, if that makes sense. Looking back towards the entrance then, I need to build a gift shop. I don't know if I have it here or here. One side's going to be a habitat, sorry. The other side's going to be a gift shop, but I'm thinking the gift shop's going to need to go here. It'll all make sense when you see where the other building has gone, so that we have a sort of, not a main street, but an entrance plaza around this fountain in the middle. And I think I want to do that so that you can't see over to the Indian area as soon as you enter the park. I want it to be a bit more of a surprise, sort of, as you head out over to this path, then you see it as you walk into the area. So then I think we can fit a small habitat here, maybe a Galapagos tortoise or some flamingos or something like that would fit in nicely. And then obviously stuff needs to happen here. I'm not entirely, well, I'm not at all sure what yet, but I have themed up the staff area, so we've got a nice little staff village now, which looks much better. Just a little area that they can sort of go around and use, I suppose. Yeah, because I didn't want to just hide it with trees like I did with my last zoo, which wasn't really very good. And then I've added another bit of path here, so we'll do something in the middle here with some planters or something like that. So yeah, enjoy the time lapse, which we'll get into right now. Okay, so let's get started on the build today then. It took me a little while to figure out where to actually put it, and then I decided in the end it's going next to the information centre. So what we're building today is an education centre, with some almost sort of like a little museum as well, with some sort of exhibits and that type of thing in it. We have a little go at doing an interior, but I'll talk about that more later on when we actually do it. The building shape's very simple. It's just basically two rectangles, joined together, and you can walk straight through it just like you can the information centre. So I have a path running along the back there that guests can use. I don't know if there's some sort of problem with guests and pathing at the moment in the game, because for some reason they're not walking through this building, and I'll put a path through there underneath the wooden section, you can see, so they should be able to go through there and use it like an actual building. But you know, it could be something I've done wrong because I'm not an expert in this game. But I seem to remember watching someone else's video fairly recently. I can't remember what the heck it was, but someone was saying, "Oh, the guests are all getting stuck or something at the moment." So I don't know if there's generally something wrong with the game that needs updating or something. So yeah, I put the basic foundations of the outside of the building, and then we do start working on the interior. So the idea here was to have a lift and a door to the stairs. Obviously I was going to do 2 floors and completely do interiors for both floors, but then I thought, well, the guests can't get up to the 2nd floor. There's no real way of, I've not got enough room to put stairs in behind that door without ruining the look of things, so I just decided we'll have 1 functioning floor. And then when I built the 2nd floor, I thought, well, no one can get up there, so there's no real point in doing the interior. So the lifts and stairs are just for show, really. And then we put lots of wood and posts and pillars and stuff on the walls to decorate the inside. I bring over the 2 machines, what are they called, the sort of education board computer things that were in the information centre. I bring them into here, so that because they just fit in better here, and I'm just going to leave that space in the information centre, you know, where the big round section is, with the glass windows. I'm just going to leave that completely open for now, because that really, it doesn't need anything in there. It's just for show. It's just for show, the part of the building. This is my first real go at doing a proper interior, I suppose, and it turns out looking all right. Sometimes I don't really know what pieces to use for this sort of thing. You know, I've not always been that great at using different pieces in creative ways like some people are. So what I really go for here is just quite a lot of wooden posts and poles and stuff. And then I stick some like education boards into the wood, so it just looks like there's loads of different information about animals. For the little ones at the moment, they've got nothing on them because I don't have any exhibit animals in the zoo. But when I get round to building exhibit animals, obviously I'll link them up to show on them screens, just so that there's something showing really on the screen. Here I worked on a bookshelf, and I really wasn't sure how to go about this, or even why it would be in there, to be honest. But you know, I suppose it's an education centre. People can, you know, take out a book and sit there and read it. I suppose we should have put a couple of chairs in there as well, really, but maybe I'll go back and do that at some point. I just thought of it then. In the end I decided we'd stick with the art shapes for the books themselves, but the bookshelf needed to be a bit thicker for them to fit in, so I just doubled it up there. And then the books fit in quite nicely, and we just colour them various different darker colours so that they don't look too shiny like the shapes usually are. That's the only problem with these art shapes, they are that shiny material. It would be nice to have some darker textured shapes, or different textured shapes in general, really. And here I'm just building a little sort of exhibit type thing. I'm not really sure what it's meant to be. I was looking for just small like artifacts that I could put in there. I was looking at like the horn and stuff like that, but they're all way too big. So in the end we just put some like like pots and stuff, but just the tops of them. I even looked at putting plants in there, but firstly they look too big, and secondly they weren't really what we're going for. So yeah, just some simple little artifacts like that, and then I stick the glass over the top to make it look like it's a little exhibit with information board at the front of it. And that's it for the interior. Very basic stuff. I'll say that I do go back in and add some lighting and planting and that type of thing as well. But yeah, I really thought there's no point in doing the upper floor. It's just going to add to the piece count of the zoo, which is already probably getting quite high, and my computer isn't going to be able to handle this if everything is as detailed as what we're doing here. So I really do need to be careful with making the custom things. Again, this building has a custom roof on it in the end, so that's more pieces. Now that I've started playing the Planet games more, I really do like building custom things, because I just think it makes it look more interesting. I know a lot of people are doing it anyway, but it gives you a bit of variation to your builds. On the front here, then we just end up adding the windows are just sort of sunken in. In the end, there's not really any actual walls on the front of the building. It's all just pillars and posts and detailing, stuff like that, to seem like it's a wall. And then we sink some of the like decorative parts into the actual pillars and posts to make them look a bit more authentic, I suppose. And really what I was going for here was just sort of a classical sort of generic style building, but a little bit, a little bit sort of historical, a little bit more old-fashioned. The more I look at this zoo now, the more I think, especially with the palm trees and stuff, the more I think it could be in somewhere like the Caribbean or Cuba. I know that's not really what we were going for. Maybe it could be in Florida, because it's got this sort of climate. Well, I suppose it doesn't really rain enough to be Florida, but it's got some of the sort of Caribbean-ish architecture. I'm not really sure, because I'm not that clued up about architecture. I love building it in the game, but I have no idea in terms of real life architecture what I'm actually building. So yeah, I just sort of go into something, and if it's accurate, it's accurate, but if it's not, then it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's, at the end of the day, it's just a game, and that's how I play it. And yeah, that's like I say, the generic looks pretty much what we go for. Adding these fonts in, the Rice's fonts, I love them, they look great, but the piece count is so high on them, and they're so awkward to get in the right position. I had to have a few tries at this before I got it looking right. I really do think sometimes they're more hassle than they're worth, and I'm going to try and avoid using them anyway in future now. Probably I'll use them once more for the gift shop, and that's it, because to be honest, the piece count is just so high on them, and I can't really afford to keep making. I mean, this building is probably not a massive piece count on the building. It's probably about 1,500, but it's, for my computer, that's still a lot for one building when you consider we've already got 4 of these sort of heavily detailed buildings in the park, plus the exhibits, which are similarly heavily detailed. But so far it still seems to be running quite nice. So that's why I'm getting a bit carried away, I think. The game is much better optimised, I think, than Planet Coaster, for example. It seems to run a lot smoother for longer, but maybe that's just me getting cocky and it'll all come crashing down after I build one more building with 100 million pieces on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not as bad as some people that use like 40,000 pieces in each building. Which, don't get me wrong, the stuff they build looks awesome, but it wouldn't work on my computer, to be honest. and getting a new computer definitely isn't on the cards at the moment for me. In terms of playing these games, I know it's been, like I say, it's been 4 or 5 weeks since I've been in Planet Zoo. Obviously I have been playing Planet Coaster as well, and Parkitect, which is the main thing we play on the channel. But I am going to stick with this zoo. There is going to be more Planet Zoo content. I'm still going to try and get involved with, commenting on other people's videos when I see fit, and all that type of thing, getting involved as much as I can, but I haven't got that much free time at the moment, to be honest. So, I'll just do what I can when I can, really. Like, for example, next week I'm working a 7-day week, so there won't be too much done in this game. But the good news is I've got the motivation for it at the moment. I really didn't know what was going to happen next before I loaded it up and built this. So I'm glad that I did, because it's really it's really come together, and given me, I think sometimes you build something that you like and it gives you that motivation to carry on building then, but then you're trying to match it, and then it's a catch-22. Sometimes you can think, oh well, if I build something else I don't think is as good next to it, then it's going to ruin the whole vibe. So I don't know, it's difficult to get that balance, I suppose. But yes, just reminded me of how much I love this game, actually, to be honest. Like, I love Planet Coaster as well, but I wish that the foliage and stuff and the graphics were as tight as they are in this, because the graphics really are lovely in this. The only thing that I think is the downside of this is the lack of recolorable pieces. There's so much more variation that we could get in our builds in this game if we had more recolorable stuff. I know some people probably aren't that bothered about it, but it is something that I think Planet Coaster has better. Like, you can recolour a lot of stuff in that. There's still a lot of items that you can't, but obviously there's a lot more DLCs for it as well. There's a lot more content for it. It's been around longer, and you've got the Theme Maker's Toolkit and everything, so there's that. But I still feel like even if we just had an update where some of the wall pieces were made recolorable, if that's something they can do. I don't know anything about game development. I don't know if that's something that they can implement into the engine, but stuff like that really would come in handy for improving the whole experience, because sometimes I struggle to think what to actually build with the pieces we've got in the game to make them look different. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to just build the same old thing again and again. Obviously in this area the buildings are quite similar because they're following a similar sort of generic theme. I wanted it to have sort of elements that would... Right, sorry, someone's drilling outside. I don't know I don't know how well that's going to bode for the rest of this commentary. I think what we'll do is leave it for now with a time lapse, and we'll come back at the end and talk about it. Okay then, welcome back to the time lapse. No, not really welcome back, you didn't go anywhere, did you? It was me that went. Unfortunately, someone's drilling outside, which is not something that I'm completely new to. I used to live in Spain, so there was pretty much someone drilling all hours of the day, every day, including on a Sunday. So but it is rather annoying, and you could hear it in the background of the commentary. So I've now gone into the hallway, which is absolutely freezing. So we're going to try and wrap this up nice and quickly. Always good to have your commentary interrupted by someone with a drill. I can still hear it in the background now with the door shut as well. And it's really echoey in here as well. This is just not working well at all. But hey ho, we're near the end now. I hope you've enjoyed watching the build then. It's another building that I'm pretty happy with how it's come together. Obviously you can see the roof is completely custom, using quite a lot of pieces as well. I just found that the best piece to use for that was sort of square, so I think it's like a steel piece or something, but it's a good recolorable one. Other than that, then just adding in the lighting and stuff, and a little clock tower on top to give it that sort of main street building feel to it almost, because like I said before the time lapse started, this is like a main street but all sort of built round a circular plaza in the middle. It really is echoey in here, isn't it? It sounds like we've got a load of reverb on the microphone, but yeah, it's fine. We're nearly done. You know, I'm not a professional at this, it's just a hobby. Just sticking in a bit of foliage then around the edge, and this is sort of the point where I thought, yeah, this could be in the Caribbean or something, or somewhere tropical, just with the way that the planting looks, and I think it looks really nice actually. Quite like this foliage that we've got. Like I say, the foliage in this game is much better than Planco, but we need to stop comparing the two games. I've been doing that a lot myself recently. Anyway, that's it for today's build. I hope you've enjoyed it and enjoyed the cinematics, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.